Hi folks, Puffin here with your Antifa News Briefa for October 18th, 2021. This one's about Colin Powell is dead. Rest in peace, Colin Powell, but good riddance, Colin Powell. It's also going to be about Dave Chappelle, about um, other people that have been used for tools for fascism. So, uh, Rudy Giuliani, Donald Trump, Mark Zuckerberg. So, first about Colin Powell. Colin Powell was used for fascism to start a war in Iraq. He lied to the American people, lied to the UN, lied to everybody to help Bush start a war. And that's what he'll be remembered for. Since then, he's done some good things. He's done some things to kind of try to make up for that. But he never did enough to make up for that. How do you make up for that? I mean, one way you could have made up for that as a general of the U.S. military or as Secretary of State, as different things, you could have actually worked to dismantle the military, the evil thing you were a part of, and you helped do this. We're going to need to dismantle the military, just to let you know for the future. We will be dismantling or repurposing the military to green energy conversion and rescue squad, basically to overcome the problems we've caused with climate catastrophe through pollution of the oil companies. So the oil companies and the military are the two things that we're going to need to completely repurpose to other endeavors. And people who have stood in the way of that, people who have propped up the military or made it seem necessary, are in the way. So bye, Colin Powell. Glad he's gone. I've been making jokes about that, he'll be fanning Herman Cain now because they did the same bidding. Somebody came back and said, Colin Powell wasn't so bad before Bush got to him, before, Bush's lies. So I'm like, well, so Bush's lies ended his reputation, whatever it was before that. And Trump's lies ended his life because Trump's the one who lied about the Trump virus and let it get spread around so much, turn into a genocide, and set the conditions for it to still be around today. That was Trump's plan, his instructions from Putin. But Colin Powell died of it. The Trump trolls who love pointing out anytime anybody dies of COVID, like trying to make a big deal about it, like it must have been something else or whatever, or trying to, again, continue to push their genocide by denying that the virus actually exists. They're still doing that, like most of them. They'll say they don't even support Trump, but they'll say we don't believe in the virus because that's Putin's real agenda. Trump was just a tool. So you'll see them do this stuff. Their reputations are ruined. This is the way people think about them. They're not going to go down in history as someone who did good. With Colin Powell in particular, because he was a more, moderate Republican or a more, you know, mainstream conservative or whatever, he had some criticism for Trump. Well, since that's what he's done recently, all the Trumpers are going to pile on and say rude things about him. The leftists who don't appreciate him starting wars and being an imperialist are going to have rude things to say about him. Like, he's not going to rest in peace because people don't have goodwill towards fascists. And even a fascist who somewhat overcame it, if you don't totally overcome it, which is, why we need Joe Biden to cancel various policies like Trump's immigration policies and deporting people just like Trump would. Um, he needs to change those things because he'll go down as, nearly as bad or partially as bad. And partially as bad as evil is not good enough. So yeah, even though Colin Powell did stand up, say some things against Trump, I guess later in life to somewhat atone for what he did for Bush, um, and against humanity, people don't forgive him for that first thing, and the Trumpers don't forgive him for the second thing, which also shows that the Trumpers don't care about the military, or don't care about loyalty, or standing up for the things they used to stand up for. They only care about whatever they can identify with that, perpetuates their white supremacist programming, which, used to be the police, but when you have to bash Capitol cops in the head with your Blue Lives Matter flag, it's not the police anymore, is it? So, it shifts. It shifts even away from the military. But they've messed up. They've triangulated enough of sentiment that people don't respect the military anymore because we don't need it. It's a failed and obsolete institution. So we're going to change that, and the people that are trying to keep everybody fighting over this and that to keep their military and keep their oil companies going are going to be the big losers in this. Good. So back to, who did I say? Rudy Giuliani. He's been cut off. He's not getting any help with his legal battles or whatever. Trump will be next. Trump will be cut off. He's not the big wig here. Putin most in need of a wig. Putin is the biggest wig we can think of. Zuckerberg is his, henchman, his crony, his organizing guy, who, uses Facebook to set all this stuff up. Well, they've got both Democrats and Republicans supposedly turned against Facebook right now. Now, have they been turned enough? I think we need to spread the word, but no, he needs to be arrested for what he did. Same with Trump. They need to be arrested. But if it's before or after they're arrested that they're cut off, that shows the pattern. Rudy Giuliani's been cut off. Herman Cain was, nobody cares about Herman Cain. He was lying about the virus and 2 days later died of it. Now that Colin Powell has died of the virus, yeah, he's fanning Herman Cain down in hell. They're trying to cool each other off because that's where they go. That's where all these liars go who lied for Trump. I don't think there really is a hell, but it's like for the purposes of their imagination and understanding, let's call it that. We've got to call it out for what it is. And hopefully people that have been part of this will repent and change like Colin Powell did somewhat. And thank you for that. Good job. If you ever criticize Trump, good job. That's good. That's anti-fascist. But as a fascist who was partly responsible for this war that killed millions, no. Don't be part of that in the first place. Let your life and legacy be a lesson to others, not to lie for Nazis. Don't lie for Republicans. They're evil. So don't be part of it. Thanks. See you soon.